In the search for new clues, several of Nancy Guthrie's neighbors tell NBC News investigators returned this week asking them about any potential internet issues the night of Nancy's disappearance. The homeowners say the agents told them several neighbors mentioned glitches with their internet that night. One of those neighbors tells us when they checked on their Ring cameras, this one here, the one closest to Nancy's property, said not available during the overnight hours of the abduction.
Here in their backyard, you can actually see Nancy's home. It's that brick house there. Experts tell us it would likely take a professional-grade Wi-Fi jammer to knock out internet all the way to the back of this property.
Here's the jammer.
She posted 6 videos in 1 month. She announced a $1 million reward. She looked straight into the camera and told whoever took her mother, "We will pay. Just bring her home." Savannah Guthrie appeared to be doing exactly what a terrified daughter should do when someone she loves vanishes. But hidden inside those videos is something many viewers didn't notice at first. A quiet shift. Not in the tears. Not in the urgency. In the language. In the direction of her eyes. In the people she addresses, and the people she suddenly stops mentioning. In the way her words change between the first week and the 4th. And most importantly, in a single sentence she delivers on day 24, a sentence that a former FBI profiler who once helped track the Unabomber heard and instantly recognized as something far more revealing than it sounded.
Search underway. This is happening near Annie Guthrie's home outside Tucson. She, of course, is Savannah Guthrie's sister. We do not have control of this camera, but we can tell you from this live feed, we have seen investigators searching the property and what appears to be officers investigating a drainage pipe. Right there, you see FBI agents on scene. Certainly increased activity, but nothing further has been confirmed about what brought investigators to this location. Of course, we will keep you posted throughout the afternoon on this specific situation. Now, if you haven't seen...
Tonight, we're going to walk through 7 details. Not speculation. Not message board theories. Not viral rumors. 7 documented details pulled from interviews, investigation notes, and statements made on camera. Details that slowly connect Savannah Guthrie's own public behavior to the growing scrutiny surrounding her sister Annie and Annie's husband, Tommaso, the last confirmed person to see Nancy Guthrie alive that night in the Catalina foothills. Some of these details come from federal investigators. Others come from former intelligence analysts who study behavioral patterns. And one of them comes directly from Savannah herself, from a sentence spoken publicly that investigators reportedly replayed more than once. By the time we reach detail number 7, you'll understand why that former FBI profiler went on national television and asked a chilling question. Does Savannah Guthrie suspect her own sister? And once the 7 details are laid out side by side, that question begins to answer itself. Do not go anywhere.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Detail number 1. The last ride home. January 31st, 9:48 p.m. Tommaso pulls into the driveway of Nancy Guthrie's home in the Catalina foothills. He has just driven his 84-year-old mother-in-law home from dinner at his and Annie's house, roughly 4 miles away. Earlier that evening, Nancy took an Uber to their house, a simple trip she often made. Tommaso drove her back. According to the sheriff's timeline, he waited until Nancy entered the house, and the garage door closed at 9:50 p.m. Authorities believe she was inside, likely heading toward bed. For hours later, a masked figure appeared on her doorbell camera. Tommaso is the last confirmed person to see Nancy Guthrie alive. He knew what time she got home. He knew she would be alone. He knew the layout of the house. He knew where cameras were installed. He knew about her limited mobility. He knew about her pacemaker. He knew there would be a window of hours before anyone checked on her again. Understanding these facts does not prove guilt. Every family member likely had similar knowledge. But criminal investigations always start with the same question. Who was last to see the victim? In this case, the answer has never changed. Savannah knows this. She has known it since day 1. And everything she has done on camera since that night has existed under that shadow. Detail number 2, the late-night FBI search. February 7th. Investigators arrived at Annie and Tommaso's home after sundown and remained for nearly 3 hours. Reporters on the scene, including Fox News correspondent Sarah Rumpf-Witten and News Nation's Brian Enton, captured the search in real time. Flashes of light from inside the garage were visible. Agents photographed every room. A silver metal briefcase was carried from an unmarked vehicle into the house. A SWAT expert later identified it as a Celebrite device used for extracting data from phones, tablets, and computers. This indicates that investigators were not only searching rooms but were also collecting and preserving digital evidence. Deputies left wearing blue gloves and carrying brown evidence bags. Former CIA and FBI agent Tracy Walder confirmed that these bags were standard evidence containers, while the briefcase contained forensic processing tools. This was the second search of the home in 4 days. The first, on February 4th, occurred 3 days after Nancy vanished. NBC News reported that the searches were consent-based. Annie and Tommaso allowed investigators inside without a warrant. Coffin Daffer later noted that this means probable cause had not yet been established. Even with consent, bringing a Celebrite into a home and methodically photographing every room is not routine procedure. The following morning, investigators returned to Nancy's residence. Drone footage captured them probing the septic system and inspecting a manhole with long poles. Fox 10 Phoenix reported that this signaled a shift from general searching to detailed forensic collection. Former FBI agent Brianna Fox discussed whether luminol, a chemical that reveals trace amounts of blood, was used. She noted that it requires darkness to be effective. Investigators arrived after sundown and departed before midnight. While luminol use alone is not proof of foul play, the timing is consistent with its potential application. The pattern matters. 2 searches in 4 days. A digital forensic extraction. Evidence bags leaving the home. Probing of the septic system the next morning. This is not a routine family interview. Savannah watched these events unfold from Tucson. She saw both searches, the evidence containers, and the briefcase. And on the evening of February 7th, she appeared on camera beside Annie and Cameron in what would be the last video showing the family unified. The timing is notable. The FBI spent 3 hours inside Annie's home that day extracting digital evidence. And that same evening Savannah addressed the kidnapper publicly. "We will pay." Was she already asking questions she could not voice? Detail number 3, the car that would not come home. The vehicle Tommaso used to drive Nancy home was seized by investigators and placed in evidence. Journalist Ashley Banfield first reported it on her podcast, citing a well-connected law enforcement source. On February 16th, the sheriff publicly cleared the family. No one in the family was a suspect. Yet 10 days later, when CBS 5 reporter Brianna Whitney asked about the car, the sheriff's office replied that it remained part of the investigation. Cleared on day 16, but the car still held on day 27. No explanation was given on February 27th. Former FBI agent Maureen O'Connell told the Megyn Kelly Show, "You only keep a car if you need it for trial." Then FBI profiler James Fitzgerald commented, "It raises red flags. If I were completely innocent, I would demand my car back." Neither Tommaso nor Annie requested the car be returned. When it finally was, over 30 days later, no explanation was provided for the delay or findings. In comparison, Luke Daly, a man raided with a SWAT team on February 13th, got his vehicle back in roughly 2 weeks. Same sheriff, same investigation, different timeline. Savannah knows these details. She knows whether Annie still had the car and for how long. She also knows that a profiler who caught the Unabomber publicly identified it as a red flag.
Are you actively investigating the son-in-law in this case? I know there were reports earlier this week and you refuted that. You said you haven't eliminated everybody. Have you eliminated him or come close to it, or are you actively looking at him?
We're actively looking at everybody we come across in this case. Everybody. We would be irresponsible if we didn't talk to everybody. The Uber driver, the gardener, the pool person, whoever, everybody. It's so cliche, but everybody's still a suspect in our eyes. That's just how we look at things and think as cops. Does that mean we have a prime suspect? No, and the family's been very cooperative. they've done everything we've asked of them, and we want that relationship to continue. And sometimes people can be mean out there, and that can really harm us and harm our efforts.
Detail number 4, Annie's 22-day silence. Savannah Guthrie appeared on camera 6 times in 31 days following her mother's disappearance. February 4th, 7th, 14th, 18th, 24th, and March 2nd. She announced a $1 million reward, contributed $500,000 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, maintained weekly Instagram posts, granted interviews. Every public appearance reinforced a narrative of advocacy, urgency, and hope. Annie Guthrie appeared in only 2 group videos, February 4th and 7th. She spoke briefly and then vanished from public view for 22 consecutive days. 22 days. The last person to see Nancy alive, alongside her husband, was silent for 3 weeks while Savannah carried the family's grief on national television. There are explanations that do not imply guilt. Annie is not a public figure. She may have been advised by attorneys to stay quiet. Trauma manifests differently in every person. Silence alone is not a confession. Behavioral analysts note that, in cases of abduction, the closest family members often become vocal advocates. They hold press conferences, issue direct pleas to the perpetrator, and appear consistently in media coverage. This is the behavioral norm. Savannah followed this pattern. Annie did not. And Savannah, living within this reality, understands the contrast more deeply than anyone outside the family. Detail number 5, the language shift from "we will pay" to "dancing in heaven." February 7th. Savannah stands beside Annie and Cameron, holding their hands. She looks into the camera and says, "We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is very valuable to us and we will pay." That is active, present tense negotiation language. It is directed to a kidnapper. The family is unified. The message is clear. Bring Nancy home, and money will change hands. 17 days later, February 24th, Savannah appears alone. Annie is absent. Cameron is absent. She says, "We still believe in a miracle. We still believe that she can come home. Hope against hope." Then she adds, "As my sister says, we are blowing on the embers of hope." She attributes the phrase to Annie, placing Annie's words on public record, though Annie has not spoken in 17 days. Is Savannah vouching for Annie's presence? Or is she subtly signaling something else entirely? This shift, from negotiating ransom to reflecting on hope and potential loss, is not gradual grief. It is a shift in knowledge. Something changed between February 7th and 24th. Something moved Savannah from active negotiation to a more somber, eulogizing tone. Detail number 6, the memorial note. March 2nd, 30 days after Nancy vanished. Savannah, Annie, and Tommaso walked together to the memorial outside Nancy's home. Yellow flowers are laid. Tears are shed. A handwritten note is left behind. "Mama, we miss you so much. Our hearts are broken. We are standing on ash on scorched earth. But Mom, though we are surrounded by so much darkness, uncertainty, our love burns bright. Reflect for a moment." Just 6 days earlier, Savannah quoted Annie, "Blowing on the embers of hope. Embers remain after a fire. They still glow, they can still ignite. Life persists." But 6 days later, the family's language shifts from embers to ash, from potential to devastation, from hope to absolute loss. Ash cannot reignite. Scorched earth is total destruction, leaving nothing behind. This note is Tommaso's first public communication in the investigation. 30 days of silence. And his first words read not as a plea, not as a search effort, but as a farewell. The note does not address the kidnapper. It does not request Nancy's return. It does not say, "We will find you." It says, "We are standing on ash." Goodbye language. Forensic linguists like the profiler who caught the Unabomber watch these shifts. Every word, every choice, every metaphor carries significance. Embers. Scorched earth. Savannah has been observing, interacting, interpreting, all under the weight of knowledge no outsider possesses. Detail number 7, the profiler's question. February 27th, 3 days before the memorial. James Fitzgerald, retired from the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit and credited with catching the Unabomber, appears on The Megyn Kelly Show. The segment initially concerns the car still held in evidence. Brianna Whitney confirms its status. O'Connell notes, "You only hold a car for trial." Fitzgerald adds, "Red flags. If I were completely innocent, I would request my car back." Then the conversation shifts. Fitzgerald turns from evidence to family dynamics. Speaking to millions, he publicly wonders whether Savannah Guthrie might suspect her sister Annie, a question no other expert has publicly asked. The profiler did not arrive at this query randomly. He spent a month establishing 7 potential motives for the abduction. Ransom is eliminated, no proof of life in 31 days. Cartel involvement is ruled out, the footage shows an amateur. Every remaining motive requires inside knowledge of the house, the cameras, routines, medication schedules, household layout. When tracing this thread, it leads back to the car, the meals, the people who knew Nancy would be alone. Fitzgerald does not accuse. He follows his analytical framework. The same framework that caught the Unabomber leads him to focus on family dynamics on national television. The question hangs, could one Guthrie sister suspect the other?
I'm going to say it is day 24 since our mom was taken in the dark of night from her bed. And every hour and minute and second and every long night has been agony since then, of worrying about her and fearing for her, and aching for her, and most of all, just missing her, We know that millions of you have been praying, so many people have been praying of every faith and no faith at all, praying for her return, and we feel those prayers. Please keep praying without ceasing. We still believe. We still believe in a miracle. We still believe that she can come home. Hope against hope. As my sister says, we are blowing on the embers of hope. We also know that she may be lost. She may already be gone. She may have already gone home to the Lord that she loves and is dancing in heaven with her mom and her dad and with her beloved brother Pierce and with our daddy. If this is what is to be, then we will accept it. But we need to know where she is. We need her to come home. For that reason, we are offering a family reward of up to $1 million for any information that leads us to her recovery. All of the information about this reward and the details is in the caption below. You can call the 1-800 tip line. You can be anonymous if you want. Someone out there knows something that can bring her home. Somebody knows. And we are begging you to please come forward now. We also know that we are not alone in our loss. We know there are millions of families that have suffered with this kind of uncertainty. And for that reason today, we also are donating $500,000 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children for their work in helping families who are coping with loss and actively looking for those who are lost.
Now put all 7 details together. Detail 1. Tommaso was the last person to see Nancy alive. Detail 2. The FBI searched his home twice, bringing a Celebrite and evidence bags. Detail 3. His car was held for over 30 days while other cleared individuals had vehicles returned in 2 weeks. Detail 4. Annie went silent for 22 days while Savannah spoke every week, carried the family's grief publicly, and addressed the kidnapper directly. Detail 5. Savannah's language shifted from ransom negotiation to a eulogizing tone within 17 days, quoting Annie's words while Annie remained silent. Detail 6. The memorial note used ash and scorched earth language, reading as a farewell, not a search effort. Detail 7. The FBI profiler who caught the Unabomber asked publicly whether Savannah suspects her sister. 7 details. All verified, all sourced, all on the record. Lay them side by side. Examine the timeline, the silence, the searches, the car, the language, the memorial, and the profiler's question. Pattern emerges. One that the sheriff's press conferences appear designed to obscure. Fairness demands presenting both sides. The other side is substantial. The sheriff cleared the family on February 16th, stating explicitly, "Not one single person in the family is a suspect." He labeled online accusations cruel. The DNA does not match. Not the gloves found 2 miles from the house. Not the samples from inside the home. 2 unknown male profiles were identified, neither in CODIS, neither matching the Guthrie family. Doorbell footage shows a masked man, 5 feet 9 inches to 5 feet 10 inches, black mustache, Ozark Trail backpack, Walmart holster. No law enforcement source has suggested Tommaso. All searches were consent-based, no warrants were executed. Coffin Daffer noted that if investigators had probable cause, warrants would have been obtained instead of relying on permission. They didn't. Daffer theorized that the vehicle remained in evidence because it could contain proof against the perpetrator. A tracker, fingerprints, DNA from someone surveilling the household. If that reading holds, the car implicates the predator, not the family. The March 2nd memorial reinforces the complexity. Annie sobbing, Savannah holding Tommaso, a united front of grief. Savannah's body language demonstrates trust, even affection. She links arms with Tommaso, places a hand on his back, rests her head on his shoulder. These gestures argue that Annie and Tommaso may indeed be innocent. Nancy Guthrie is 84 years old, missing for 32 days. No proof of life, no arrest, no named suspect. Her pacemaker disconnected from her phone at 2:28 a.m. on the night she vanished. She requires daily medication, failure of which could be fatal. The sheriff says investigators are closer, but closer to what? He will not clarify. He acknowledges that his department holds information it chooses not to release publicly. Savannah has observed, interpreted, and responded to all of it. She knows what is visible and what is not. The FBI's methodical actions, Annie's silence, the vehicle, the language shifts, all of it exists within a framework of evidence, behavior, and timing that raises questions even if no one is officially accused. This case is not a conspiracy theory. The sheriff has cleared the family. DNA, gloves, unknown male profiles, and the doorbell footage all suggest that the investigation is ongoing and complex. Yet 7 details remain. 7 verified, recorded undeniable facts that together form a framework for understanding this case, independent of press releases or public statements. For the audience, the implication is clear. These details, taken as a whole, provide insight into behavior, timing, and dynamics that cannot be ignored. Whether or not they lead to a suspect, they establish a baseline of facts, a chronological record, and a behavioral context that any investigator, journalist, or observer must consider. Savannah's responses, Annie's silence, the FBI searches, the car, the memorial language, and the profiler's public question all converge to reveal a narrative hidden between official statements. The story remains unresolved. Nancy Guthrie is missing. No arrests have been made. No evidence has been conclusively tied to any family member. And yet, the public record videos, notes, search logs, language patterns, and expert analysis presents a set of verifiable, documented details. Each point contributes to understanding a case that is part mystery, part procedural complexity, and part human behavior under pressure. This is the timeline. These are the details. And together, they form a framework for observation, analysis, and understanding that cannot be erased by public statements, press conferences, or clearance announcements. The case continues. The search continues. The questions remain. And the facts, as they stand, are on the record. 7 verified details sit before you tonight. The last ride home, the late-night FBI search, the car held for over 30 days, Annie's 22-day silence, the language shift from ransom to eulogy, the memorial note written on ash, and the profiler's question about whether Savannah suspects her own sister. None of these details alone prove guilt. None are speculation. But when placed side by side, in chronological order, sourced from FBI agents, former CIA operatives, and the sheriff's own statements, they form a pattern that no press conference or public explanation can erase. Here's what sets this apart from online rumor. Every detail in this breakdown comes from verified reporting. The search times were observed by journalists outside Annie and Tommaso's home. The Celebrite device was confirmed by a digital forensic expert. The car timeline comes directly from the sheriff's department responding to reporters. The language shift comes from Savannah's Instagram videos, her public statements, her choice of words. And the profiler's question comes from a 30-year FBI behavioral analysis veteran speaking on national television. This is not a theory. This is a timeline of verified facts that the sheriff has never reconciled. He cleared the family on day 16, yet the vehicle remained in evidence until day 32. He described processed vehicles in past tense while the car was still held. He called online suspicion cruel even as investigators extracted digital evidence from the family's devices. Every time the sheriff said one thing, the evidence suggested another. This breakdown has not accused anyone. The sheriff cleared the family. The DNA does not match. The gloves found nearby are unidentified. The doorbell footage shows a masked intruder. Yet these 7 details exist. They are verified. They are on the record. And they are not going away. Nancy Guthrie's family has offered over $1.2 million in rewards, including $1 million from the Guthrie family, $100,000 from the FBI, and $102,000 from Tucson Crime Stoppers. Tips can be submitted anonymously and rewarded in cash. Call 1-800-CALL-FBI. Submit tips at tipsfbi.gov. Or contact the Pima County Sheriff's Department at 520-351-4900. Someone knows who the masked figure is. Someone remembers the way he walked, the backpack he carried, the ring he wore. Someone saw the vehicle that night. Someone knows what Savannah knows. Subscribe, hit the bell, share this video, comment your theories. Tell us which detail struck you the most. Law enforcement is watching. The community is watching. And somewhere, the person who took Nancy Guthrie is watching too. We will be here when it breaks. And it will break.